Today on Faces of Florence, Grayson Markle. Grayson is a woodworker, he's a craftsman, but he has a passion for redemption. And when you combine all of that, you get ElkRam.
Hey, welcome. We're so glad you found us. Radio Free is a 24-hour Christian mix radio station broadcasting right here out of Florence, South Carolina. So when you're driving around town, remember to tune it in to 92.5. And if you're outside of the Florence area, you can listen 24 hours a day at radiofree.cc.
Grayson Markle, welcome to Radio Free. Welcome to the Radio Free studio, which now all cards on the table, this is not new for you.
No,
you
sir.
and I worked together
sir.
for like year and a half, something like that.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dude, it's
right,
good to be back.
Right here in this building. I'm
good to be
glad to
back.
have you back. You got good energy, man. I'm glad to have you back in here. But this new series, you said you'd seen a couple of them. Mm-hmm. The idea is just to sort of connect some dots for people here in Florence. Yeah. There's a lot of really neat people here in this town doing a lot of really cool kingdom work. Mm-hmm. And so we just want to get them here and introduce them to people who may not know you already.
Well, praise the Lord.
So let's start with that. You are Grayson Markle, but let's talk a little bit about how you got to where you are right now. Where were you born? Where were you raised? That sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Little elevator speech here.
Yeah.
So I was born in North Carolina, Raleigh. I still claim it.
Okay,
So,
all right. North Carolina boy. All right.
I moved when I was like, I was 7 or something like that. So
Okay.
still Tar Heels, it's been a
right,
horrible
okay.
year, bad news. But North Carolina, and then I moved to Hartsville with my dad's job. And I grew up in Hartsville. So good little place to live, cool stuff. And lived there with my 4 brothers and sisters. Mom homeschooled us through high school. And
bless
then,
her.
yeah, I know, right? She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Columbia International University. And I went 4 years there and studied communication and minored in video production. And you also double major at CIU, so I got a major in Bible as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then
That's an interesting combination.
I know. And then I did actually came here and worked with Chris way early on. Did that for a while. Great experience. Learned
The
all
Radio
kinds of things.
Free OG days.
I know.
right?
This is before Kevin Smith. So it was. You've taken it to great heights. Yeah. And then from there, I went to Jacksonville, Florida, and worked at a church there. Got lots of experiences there and met some great people. And then came back here and Mead Agency 2.0.
Right.
Worked at the radio station.
Right.
Worked with Chris Mead. And I got more great experiences, lots of teaching or being taught on many things. So I value a lot. And then transitioned, and I work at Hope Health.
And we love Hope Health here
Yeah.
at Radio Free. Mm-hmm. Such a great part of this community. And I love what you're doing there. You're using the skill set that you developed right there for Hope Health. But we're not talking about Hope Health today. We're talking about ElkRam. And for those who don't know, you're about to know, because this is such a cool situation here. Why don't you talk a little bit about the origin story of ElkRam?
Yeah. Well, first, my dad used to build things all the time. And as a kid, I hated going to Lowe's after a while. I'd be like, it was fun for a little while, and then it'd be like, man, we got to get out of here,
Yeah.
And then we would help him with projects and that kind of stuff. And so I was always kind of interested, but I didn't do much woodworking or anything like that.
And his stuff was woodworking? Like
Yeah, he
was
would
built-
do.
yeah.
He did a lot of home renovation kind of stuff.
Okay.
So, but he would teach us some things, the basics and stuff, and so the idea of that was always. It was always fun, but it wasn't anything. It was much of anything.
Yeah.
And so I went to college, and when I came back, I was like, I lived at home for a little while after college. 08 was a bad year.
Yeah,
I was in 09, but it was a bad year to be looking for jobs.
Right.
And so I was living at home and doing work and stuff, and I would be like, I need a desk. And then I got to look and see how much a desk is, and I have no money. And I was like, one, this thing looks like a piece of crap. And I need a desk, and I don't have that kind of money. So I was like, I can make something better than that. And so, and And so I started making like just really crude furniture that I still use to this day, and I love it.
That's
because
awesome,
it's one of my
man.
earliest pieces. Because I'll be like, oh well, I have some books. I need a bookshelf, and like I need a nightstand. And so I started building these things, and it was like it became kind of a therapeutic outlet for me.
Yeah.
And then like, I mean, to be honest, like as I just continued to do those kind of projects in Jacksonville, was working on things. I found a lot of just a lot of joy in that creative process. I work a lot with digital things,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
can anytime if a computer decides it's going to be unhappy, you can lose all your work like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And so actually working with physical things, very tangible, is really refreshing to me. And it's like, well, unless someone steals this or I set it on fire, it's gonna be
gonna be around, right,
yeah?
right.
Or bugs, consume it or
Right,
something like
yeah,
that. So that was kind of a really good outlet for me.
Did you find that you had like a knack for that? Did your dad actually teach you his ways, or you just kind of observed, or?
Yeah, he taught me some things, and then I
Okay.
would also observe as well.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, for me, it's always been inspiration before learning. And so, like, I have something in my head and be like, I want to make that. And then I go backwards and be like, oh, I got to figure out how to do that. So
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So whenever I do a project, I always it's already done in my head before I ever start it. So
Well, somewhere along the line, your faith, your approach to being a child of God, and this creative building kind of melded.
yeah.
Talk about that.
And Kevin, I don't know if there was ever a defining moment. I don't remember one if there was. But what I found is that it's something I really enjoyed doing. And also I found like in the very physical activity I was doing, whether it be, sanding a piece of wood or tearing out rod or just, the act of creating something out of something that's worn out, not going to be used, like something that's, a lot of people would be like, it's trash. And then turning it into something useful and beautiful was like, not only did I find a lot of joy in that, but also like the Lord would actually teach me things when I was doing those things. It was like, I think the process, it would allow my brain to take a break, because, what do you think about when you're sanding a piece of wood? Well, I don't know. I don't know what you think about. It just kind of releases your brain for a minute. And that's when like the Lord would kind of hit me with just something that's relevant to what I'm doing. I'd be working on. I remember one time I was working on a piece, and it was an arbor for my friend's wedding. And he was, and I was sitting there and just sanding it. And every time as I got closer and closer to the good stuff, the good wood, like there was rot, and I knew that I couldn't leave that. And so, man, I would just be like going and be like, I'm getting closer to being done, and be like, oh crap. Here we go, and more rot. So you have to tear it out, and I was ripping off limbs and all kinds of stuff. I really like using natural things, so things that aren't like very rugged and kind of close to nature, that kind of stuff. That also comes with a whole set of challenges as well. But that was one example of the Lord teaching me like, hey, like this is what I do to you, and like
So good.
to make something useful, to make something beautiful out of something that's worn out and dead. Sometimes you got to rip up some rot, some bad stuff, and that's not a fun process. But as the creator, I was like, well, I'm creating this arbor, and I know that this needs to be removed before I can make this what it can truly be. And it's like, and those are the kind of moments that often happen when I'm working in the garage and stuff like that, and just working in my shop, and be like, oh wow, that's more than woodworking. That's
That's theology.
yeah,
you
it's
know what I'm saying?
theology. Yeah, exactly. So it's just
Oh, that's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, and so tell me about the rugged part of it. Some people, take the refined wood that's already been through the process and make something from that. What's your thoughts on why you'd rather kind of take it back a couple steps and get closer to the source?
Well, from one is there's a financial thing. There's sometimes when you find the really polished, already like hard work done stuff, it's really expensive, and for a long time it's like I simply can't afford that. So you need to take something that's people are going to throw away and turn it into something beautiful. But also, I think that I love being in nature and creation and stuff, and God, of course, is the master designer. And so a lot of what I see when I'm working on a piece, I was like, well, how can I reveal the beauty that's already there? And I can make it. I can put things and I can adjust it and smooth it out and make it into something useful, beautiful. But the beautiful is already there. All I'm doing is revealing those things. And it's a very humbling thing too. So because it's man, I can't make this beautiful. It just is. All I can do is highlight that. And so that's what I try to do when I'm creating something. So
that's just incredible. It's an incredible statement. If we didn't go any further, what you just said is just so inspiring. Like we prayed about before we got going here. But you decided to take all those things and sort of fold them into something that I don't want to say legitimate, but a business, a formal situation.
Yeah.
And you came up. I was around when all that was kind of going on. I remember it was percolating when you were here.
Yeah.
And you came up with the name ElkRam. Let's talk about that particular name and where that came from.
ElkRam. Well, it's kind of funny. I remember when I discovered ElkRam, it was my my sister-in-law, and it was actually part of her Instagram handle. And I looked at it for the first time, and she was at the time she was a counselor, and so she couldn't put her real name on. So people bothered her or stuff.
Yeah.
So she would just slightly adjust the name or whatever. And I looked at it and I was like, "That's my last name backwards? ElkRam? Two incredible beasts? That's epic." And I was like, I gotta hang on to that and use it for something. And then as I continued to enjoy doing these projects and stuff, we'd be well, it's nice to share it with people and try to make it financially stable and that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's not a cheap hobby.
Yeah.
And then as I've kind of already alluded to some what I always came back to in building things was redemption. And I was like, man, well, and that's a really huge part of just the Bible, the whole story of humans is the need for redemption. And I was like, man, if I can leverage this idea to promote and help people to, we're not dropping tracks on people and that kind of stuff, but if we can, get that idea of redemption and people's need for redemption, and everybody relates to redemption, because everybody knows that they need it in some way or fashion. And there's something about a physical object, especially for me, which helps take a kind of an idea, something you can't hold, but if you can tie that idea to something physical, it makes it more real. At least it does for me.
Yeah.
And it just the idea of a monument or a memorial, that kind of stuff. You can tie an idea to a physical thing. It's a big thing. It's
an Ebenezer.
Yeah, it's an Ebenezer. Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And so as that kind of developed, I was like, well, that's why I do these things. And so I try to formalize it a little bit, and that's what it's about. ElkRam's about, and for me too, time and that kind of stuff. It was always a respite to be working on these projects. And so, as I began to formalize it in my head, I was like, well, this is about redeeming materials like wood and whatever else. It's about redeeming time, using my time well. And it's about redeeming people too. In some ways, I feel like I work on pieces to remind myself the Lord is redeeming me and changing me, because it's I needed a reminder pretty often.
Yeah.
But also, one of the cool things, I was like, well, if we can ever make money doing this, what would be cool? And the Lord kind of this is one of those little moments of inspiration that I was like, well, if this is ever going to get off the ground, I'm not that good. There's tons of people that are tons better than me. I was like, but the Lord gave it to me as something I do enjoy, and I do have some ability in it. And I was like, well, the idea came to me that I was like, well, if we make something, what if we just gave away a quarter of it? And it's outlandish, and it's, as a business, it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's not, but it was like, well, that's not what this is. It's not about becoming a bazillionaire,
Right.
Selling wood. It's like, well, whatever Lord wants to do it, even let's make it a living or just a side gig or whatever, he can do that. But why not build into the very fabric of the company something outlandish? So every time I sell a piece, 25% goes to an organization, and there's 3 organizations I support, but 25% goes to these organizations that help redeem people. There's a Hope International. It's a microfinance organization all over the world, and so they give people business loans, and and then like they have to pay it back. But they know these people know their communities better than they do, and so like they go in and they create a business and they create something that's sustainable for them and their family and creates jobs
that works in that community.
Yeah, and it breaks the cycle of poverty that they've often been stuck in.
So exciting.
And like the thing is, when I was in Jacksonville, there was actually one of the pastor's brother was one of the big founders of that organization.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so he came and gave just a speech on it. It's just like, like an organization wants to, if they get $1 million in donations, and then next year they want to get bigger, well, they have to get $2 million back or to grow their organization. Right. He's like, but our organization, by very nature, like we get $1 million, and then we have the same amount of support next year, but they're paying back their loans. So now we have $2 million, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. Wow. And so they take in donations, of course, but then these people that they're giving money, like they're teaching them to be financially sustainable. They're not giving handouts, and so they're growing these communities and they're growing their organization. And so just like and the gospel is woven into their loan policy as well. And so like these people get told the gospel as they're trying to break the poverty of poverty or the cycle of poverty they're in. And then there's another organization out of Jacksonville who helps women coming out of the sex trade.
Okay.
And it's
so important right now.
Oh, yeah. And I got connected with them when I was down there, just helping them out. And it's like mostly women's like boutique kind of stuff. But what I loved about it is like I met the founder, and you just knew her heart for that ministry. Yeah. And like it wasn't like, too many, I think, places are like, they don't have a lot of dignity involved with helping people. Like, you go to where these people are doing jobs or whatever, and it's like, it's dingy and gross, and, like, it's like the DMV or something like that. So, no offense to DMV people out there, but it's, work on your aesthetic. Okay. But anyway, but this place was beautiful, like, and they spent a lot of time to make it beautiful. And the people who they're bringing out of the sex trade to give jobs, they're making beautiful things, and they're selling those things, and they're getting job training, and like she gives them respect, and so that idea, I was like,
it lines right up, huh?
Exactly. And
what's the name of that organization?
Rethreaded.
Rethreaded. Okay.
Rethreaded. Yeah, I didn't say that, but Rethreaded. It's a great organization. So, and then the other one is right here in town, House of Hope. So, and
House of Hope. Yeah. Talk about redeeming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's been like, one is local, but also like, to be honest, like homelessness and homeless people make me feel uncomfortable. Like I'm like, I don't know what do you do? I can't like give them a house, and it's what do you do? Yeah. And so like it's also like it's an avenue to do something when I don't know what to do sometimes.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. There you go. And it's a real problem, and it's right under our nose.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people feel uncomfortable and they don't know what to do. But and like House of Hope and Brian Braddock, those guys are awesome with be like, hey,
I'll show you what to do.
I'll show you what to do.
Yeah. So they figured it out. All right. So those three organizations and everything you make. This isn't just like this weekend we're giving away 25%. It's every piece you sell, 25% goes to one of those three. Yeah. Excellent. And then you just kind of like rotate who gets what?
I'm working on that, exactly. Yeah, sometimes when I do like commission pieces, I'll ask the person like what they like or what the organization they would like to do. And we just recently started going to the Florence City Market around here.
Yeah.
That was the first like market kind of thing we've been trying to do. And
so you have a display?
We have a display. Yeah, I actually partner up with another friend of ours, James McCoy. Log and Limb, a wood company, and he makes all kinds of beautiful things. So we've been kind of like collaborating, and then we go together for a booth and like make sure we have enough product to fill up a booth. So yeah. So
is that something you're going to be be doing on a regular basis?
Yeah, we're going to try to go like every month, and then we'll take it from there. We did once on like the worst day you could possibly start something. It was like 35 and raining.
Yeah.
But it gave us an opportunity to like really kind of flesh out some of the nuances, like well, how do you give someone your product when they sell it, and like what do you say? How do you talk about your product? Yeah. So like it gave us some really good experience that way. And we're gonna go again in March 20th. So if anybody wants to come check things out,
March 20th.
March 20th.
And this is these pieces are designed to be sort of evergreen. So if you're watching this beyond March 20th, we're going to add some links and stuff along with this so you can get your stuff. But let's talk about the stuff itself. Grayson, you mentioned commissioned pieces. Now you're making some kind of standard pieces. In fact, you brought something here I wanted to show. Such a cool, I've seen these on your Instagram and they are just so rad, man. And there's the ElkRam logo,
Oh yeah.
Elk and the Ram.
Motto: create to redeem.
Create to redeem, right there, and it's branded on, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And so these are some of the things you make like standard. Like this would be a stock item for you,
Yeah,
right?
that'd be a stock item. So,
But if someone said, "Hey, I want something made," what's the range there? What can you make for me if I have enough money?
anything from almost anything. I mean, I've made anything from, we make the little boxes like that. Made dining room tables.
Wow.
Recently did a fish cutting table, a fish cleaning table.
Okay.
So
a custom fish.
Yeah,
kinda
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
All right.
It was beautiful, and they had a piece of wood they wanted implemented into it, and so I really enjoy doing like end tables and coffee tables and that kind of stuff like that.
We were a part of one of the launch things. You had decided to give away one of your first pieces.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was so great. The way you chose is you threw a knife at a tree with names on it, and whoever's name it stuck into won the thing, and it ended up being in me. And
Yeah.
so that was really cool, and we gave that table to my daughter, who's taking it to New York now. So that
really?
table,
Awesome.
so ElkRam is in New York City, but that table was so cool because it was reclaimed pallet wood that you just turned into something new. So is that always a part of your approach, is to take something that's been used before?
Yeah, well, it's a big part of it.
Okay.
It's not like, it doesn't, if I found a piece that was in pretty good shape, like I would still want to do something with
Yeah.
it, you know?
Okay.
So it doesn't like, but I have a knack for usually finding the things, and like Lord gives me inspiration to like see a piece and be like, oh, that's interesting, that's different, that's
Yeah.
like, I can do something with that, you know? And even sometimes I know I can do something with it before I even know what it is. Yeah, it'd be like, something great will
interesting,
come
man.
from that. Something great will
You
come
can just
from
tell,
that.
huh?
Yeah.
That's
Just has some
cool.
character or that kind of thing. So, and that's, you know, it's like these boxes, for example, like the pallets, those boxes, actually an inspiration from my brother. They're called Be All Here boxes. And the whole premise behind that is that, you know, I think we all spend too much time on our phones, you know, I do,
Yes.
and everybody else does. But like, again, going back to that, like a physical object as a reminder, and then a step further, it kind of promotes action. And the idea is you hang these boxes next to an entryway in your home, and then when you come home, you take your phone, you put it in there, and you be all here in the present tense. You are present with the people around you, not distracted by screens and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, it was my brother's idea, and I was like, that's amazing. And so I kind of took the idea or borrowed the idea and kind of adjusted it and made it kind of reproducible.
Yeah.
But so that's, and I try to usually pour some idea, some premise into the pieces I make, especially if it's going to be like a stock item, you know, that kind of thing.
What other kind of stock items do you have on a regular basis?
Let's see here. You know, I've just recently got into trying my hand at making some earrings and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And then I have some, Be All Here that's like one of the ideas, and one of the things I hope to do as I grow on the business is kind of have lines of products as well. And so, you know, Be All Here, I put those on, you know, coasters and different things like that. I have a new one that's coming out soon. I had a swing and a miss. I had a design element, the idea is there, but, and I actually bought some materials to like be able to reproduce it regularly and stuff, and then I was like, it's close, but it doesn't work. And so I have to go back to the drawing board a little bit. But this one is, it's called More Beyond. And it's a whole line of things that I have a vision for. But I read a book, and it was about heaven. And in this book, one of my friends actually gave it to me after my dad died. And so it was a really good book, and it was just called Heaven. But he gives an example in the book from history, and it was during when like the world was a lot smaller, and it was even before Columbus set sail to, you know, find North America and that kind of stuff. Spain, their motto was Plus Ultra. So it sounds like a cheap beer, but or it was no Plus Ultra, excuse me. And so there was nothing beyond. Like, we are the end of civilization, and it was that and like this is where it stops pretty much. Well, I mean, then Columbus comes along, and he goes and finds America.
Yeah.
And what was admirable is that they didn't, instead of being embarrassed that no longer were they, there's no more beyond,
right.
they just changed their motto to Plus Ultra. There's more beyond. There's always more beyond.
Wow.
And so and what that was, and I was like, he gave an example of like, well, like we always think of like, well, we have heaven and then we have our lives here, and we like, kind of a dichotomy of things. And his idea was like, no. Like, there's always more beyond. So like, even when our human not our human existence, but our first life ends here in Christ, or like in Christ, our humanness and our lives continue on into heaven. I think too many times we have an ethereal idea of heaven and stuff like, well, no, God created us to be humans, and we're going to remain to be humans, but we're going to be a heck of a lot better humans in Christ. And so like that idea is another reminder of like, there's more beyond. There's always more beyond.
Infinity is a long time. And so there's so much to do, right? That's exciting. And so that's going to be a line like, be all here. Okay. All right. God, that's so cool, man. Well, this has been fantastic, Grayson. I want to, before we kind of land the plane here, I want to read your kind of your mission statement that you got on your Instagram page here. It says, ElkRam is about redemption, redeeming materials, time, and people, and sharing the hope of Jesus, who provides ultimate redemption that all people need. And I think that just says it all, more power to you. May your tribe increase, having this thing where you have infused into what you do, even at your daily work at Hope Health. I know you enough to know that that's how you live your life, but to create a business and infuse it with this something bigger, with a bigger meaning. It's just really cool, and I hope that this thing will continue to grow. And so on that note, if someone's watching and they're saying, hey, I want to get one of those Be All Here boxes, or I want to check out what you're doing, I maybe want to put in a custom order, how do they find you?
Well, I'm in the works of building a website. Okay. And I was hoping that I could get the website up before today. It didn't happen.
That's okay. But we'll add it when it comes.
Exactly. So it's on the way.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm on Instagram, and you can direct message me or whatever. Or
just look up ElkRam.
Make a comment.
ELK.
Yeah. I think our actual Instagram handle is Elk_Ram.
Somebody already had the other.
Right? So yeah, I think it's actually like so we've had some crossover on our hashtags, and so sometimes I've started to change it because it was like some Indian guy who liked to party. So it was like, well, that's cool, but
there's more beyond.
There's more beyond. It's like, but that's not me. So some of the earlier hashtags, I had them change them all over. You might find an interesting mixture of things.
All right.
But yeah.
ElkRam on Instagram is the main source right now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So.
Well, again, thank you for what you do. Thank you for spending time with Radio Free today. And thank you for introducing yourself to a wider community here. And we're looking forward to seeing what happens with ElkRam.
It's been a pleasure, Kevin. So thanks for having me.